Welcome back, everybody. Let's clean that lens. This is the second video you're getting this week, and this is going to be 5 things that I love about my Mk8 GTI. Let's get started. Alright, while we let the car warm up, we're going to start off the video with number 1. That's going to be the seats for me. Now the seats, they're pretty comfortable. They are not bad for daily driving or for long trips. They don't really get my back hurting. If you've ever sat in a really bad bucket seat, I shouldn't say bad, I should say a bucket seat that's not comfortable after like 5 or so minutes, then you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Your lower back starts to hurt. It feels like everything's breaking your back. This is not that way. These are really comfortable seats. They've got a nice styling to them. They've got a red leather, I don't know if it's real leather or like faux leather, but they've got a red leather kind of strip that goes across the sides and up over the top of the bucket seat, which is a really nice touch in my opinion, because GTIs have always had kind of that red stripe, that red line that just sets them apart, and it's kind of like a key indicator that, hey, this is a GTI, it's not a Golf or a Golf R, because Golf Rs have their own color, blue. Number 2 has got to be how peppy the car is. It's pretty, I wouldn't say quick, but it's very nimble, and it likes to get going with ease. That's one complaint I had about the Audi that I had, that I don't feel the same about this. The car wants to go. It wants you to drive it. And I now have pretty dang close to 2,000 miles on the car, and I was pretty careful about breaking it in. They told me to break it in for the first 1,000 miles, take it easy, get it through the rev ranges, but don't get on it too hard. And so I have now done that, and now since I've completed the kind of break-in process, if you will, I've been getting on it a bit more, and it really likes to get going. I have no complaints. This is how the Mk8 should have felt from factory, which I'm glad the Mk8 does. And I've heard that APR is working on a tune that supposedly keeps the factory Volkswagen warranty, which is like 5 years or 50,000 miles, whichever comes first. Maybe it's 4 years. But if they do that, that would be awesome. I am currently stuck beside a oversized loaded truck. So this video has taken a turn for the slower side of things. As soon as this truck is gone, then we will get to number 3. Any day now. He's turning, so. Alright, on our way to number 3. So, the third thing that I love about the GTI, the Mk8 GTI, and this is true for all the GTIs I have driven, the Mk6, the Mk7, but the Mk8 is definitely a little bit more nimble. I think they said something along the lines of 15% stiffer in the rear end, and you can feel it, is gotta be the way that the car handles. I mean, it takes it, and it lets you point the car where you want to go, and it goes. There is a little bit of understeer that you can feel when you're really getting on it, but for the most part, for a daily driving car, this is pretty dang good. The LSD, I've got to say in here, makes a noticeable difference around really tight corners. Comparing this to my wife's Mk7 GTI, I definitely notice a difference. Speaking of the differences between the two of them, this one has a 7-speed DSG. which also came in the Mark 7.5, but the Mark 7s did not get it. I believe 2018 was the first year to get the DSG with the 7-speed, and I like the 7-speed a lot. The gas mileage in it, or with it rather, is pretty phenomenal for a little Econobox. And I mean, if I'm cruising at 72, 74 miles per hour on the highway slash freeway, I'm getting approximately 40 to 42 miles to the gallon, which is awesome. Like a full tank of gas, if I'm not romping on it, can last 500 miles, which is pretty incredible. And it also takes a little bit less to fill up. Maybe I'm just filling up sooner than in the Mark 7, but I can fill this thing up in today's economy at like $4.80 some cents for premium. I can get a full tank for $45, $47, I think, which is great compared to the Audi, because I was spending over 60 bucks to fill the Audi up. The next thing that I love about the GTI Mark 8, and this I guess would be the fourth thing, is the interior. Now this is pretty controversial. A lot of that controversy has to do with the infotainment system. I haven't had any issues with it. Like, mine's not laggy. I can go into things, I can go out of things, I can swipe down, and you know, people have griped about the ECS not being able to be turned off very swiftly. I can do so just right there. I can put it into sport, I can turn it off, I can cancel. I mean, it's not very hard to use, and I just think that it gets a little bit more flack for it than it should. I do like the fact that there is no shifter here. It gives you a little bit more space to move around, and that's just for the automatics. Like, obviously if you have a stick shift, a manual, you're going to have your actual shifter in the way, but that wouldn't really be a complaint for me on that car. I would have preferred the 6-speed, but this is what we got. The taptic feedback buttons don't really get in the way. Like, if I'm pushing on it, sure, but when I'm driving and when I'm actually driving it hard, my hands don't hit them. And that's another complaint people have had, is that the haptic buttons or taptic buttons are kind of annoying and come on by themselves. I have not had that problem. Along with the interior, mine doesn't have hard plastic. It's like a foam kind of covered in leather. Same with my dash. The dash is pretty soft. It's not a super hard plastic like some people were complaining of. And then I have the volume buttons and the tune buttons just because I got the base model, so it's got the smaller screen. But if you're gonna buy a GTI, get the base model or the SE, but don't spend the money on the Autobahn. I would get the Golf R if you're gonna spend that much money on a GTI. That's just me personally. With a $2,000 difference, $3,000 difference, it's not worth not spending the money on it. Now the fifth and the final thing that we are going to be talking about is going to be the exterior. It's actually going to be the front end. I absolutely love the fog lights and the daytime running lights. Now me personally, I wish I got the upgraded lights that came on the SE. That's my fault and partially the dealership's fault. I did not know that the base model came with a different set of headlights than the SE and Autobahn trims, and I wish I had them. It's really loud. That's awful. But that's just the luck of the draw. This is the one that I bought. Unfortunately, I hadn't seen it before I got it. But that's kind of like my only small complaint about the front end. I love the way that it looks. I love the styling of the entire car. It looks good to me. And it didn't at first, but it grew on me. So I think that's probably where I'll leave today's video off. If you guys have any questions about the car itself, anything you'd like to see, if you're interested in getting one, you know, those kind of things you're wanting to know before you go and even look at a car, by all means, post them in the comments down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I tend to answer all the comments that get left on my video. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and come back next time for another video. Peace.